last month on Glee Boot, we talked about the Glee concert movie, The Gloncert. We saw Baby Blaine doing his Warbles rendition, but yet Brittany was being very sexy, and we're like, is Baby Blaine seeing this? And we saw Leah Michele getting fed lines, kind of, by Ryan Murphy, and we saw little backstories of Glee. So they talked about the social impact of Glee, which Glee will get very meta on in the episode we're about to discuss. And that's what you missed on Glee Boot.
Glee Boot. I literally forgot that we had watched the Glee concert movie. And I only remembered when I went to my notes app, because that's where I take all my notes for Glee Boot. And I saw a Glee concert 3D movie. I was like, oh God, I forgot about that. Also, I watched this movie called Smoke Signals. It's a very good movie. And I was looking at the actors in the movie, as I do. And one of the guys played the Santa Claus in Santa Fake. And I lost my fucking mind.
Oh, with David McGinty and Heather Morris.
Yes, I was like, this guy kind of looks familiar. I know he's from a show that we're also currently watching. But I was like, well, let me just see what he's been in. And I was like, he was in Santa Fake. I feel so bad for him.
Okay, we need to introduce ourselves, but I listened to Gleek of the Week, had Damian McGinty on as a guest.
So fun.
And he briefly mentioned, oh yeah, I worked with Heather Morris later. And he
can't remember the name of the movie though.
Yeah. And he gave a reason why he's one of the few characters to not appear in the finale.
It's like, I had better things to do.
Yeah. We'll get to this, but okay. Welcome back to Glee Boot, the show where we get drunk and talk about rebooting Glee one episode at a time. I'm Cullen.
Alyssa.
And I'm Hannah.
And our special guest today is a blood relative of mine and a former Gleek, my cousin Stella.
Hi. To introduce her. A blood relative of mine.
Well, it's true, so.
Yeah.
On which side of the family? Mom or dad?
Mom.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
And we all just hung out last weekend in Joshua Tree.
Oh, yeah. Where you guys spotted someone famous who has a docuseries about how horrible he is and how horrible really his family seems to be.
I know. I haven't seen that yet. I want to watch it so badly.
I know.
I just want to say, oh my God, we saw that person, but
I also don't want to pay for Discovery Plus or whatever it's called.
I thought it was just Hulu.
Maybe. I don't. Isn't Discovery Plus joining with HBO Max? That's why they're destroying everything.
Yes, I think it's Discovery. If it's Hulu, then you know what? I'll watch it because we've got Hulu. What's it called? Oh, what is it? The Scary Army Hammer Experience. I don't know what it's called.
When you're at a restaurant with a cannibal and you start to wonder, what's in my food?
Is this food safety?
No.
No, Discovery Plus. But yeah, if they're going but do you have to pay for it separately from HBO Max? Probably. We're going back to cable, guys. It's essentially what this is.
Yeah. Please support Netflix because they pay my bills.
Stop sharing accounts with your family members.
Hey, don't at me. All right, so there's a lot of Glee news that have happened. Also, just a lot of life updates for us as humans.
Yeah.
True.
I got married.
Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you eating a pickle?
Me?
Yes.
It looks like a pickle.
This is my alcohol.
Oh, is it an alcoholic pickle?
It is not. It's not an alcoholic pickle. Although you can probably
now that's an idea.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it does.
Pickle back on a new level.
There's pickle vodka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's good.
I feel like you could do it. I feel like it's possible. I want to try it now. This is a popsicle It's a truly popsicle. But we haven't gotten to what we're drinking yet, Hannah.
I know, but I just was really confused. Like, why is she eating a pickle on the podcast? It's like the loudest food.
Can you hear me eating it?
I saw it and I didn't hear it yet. That's why I was confused. I was like, it's not making noise.
It's not no crunch.
The silent pickle. Anyway, sorry. Glues. Cullen got married. Yes, congratulations. Did you get my card? Did it not come in the mail yet?
Wait. I feel like if I got it, I would have sent. Oh my gosh, I got your card.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it gets there. I mean, California's.
I'll look around. And see if I got it.
Away from Indiana.
Yeah, and so speaking of,
I'm in Indiana now. That's where I live, and I have a cat. I got a cat.
Another podcat.
Yeah, I don't know where he is. He just does his own thing. He did the cutest thing today, though. I mean, he was eating, and then I think maybe like he got something stuck in his tooth, and he started meowing. While he was like, oh, it was really cute, but also sad. But he talks a lot. So hopefully eventually he'll come in here and he'll have stuff to say because he did watch the episode with me today.
Yeah,
I don't think he is a blurt shipper.
Hannah escaped Florida, so
yeah,
just barely.
That's good.
Before the gates of Mordor closed and locked you in there. Yeah, and me and Alyssa actually watched the episode together yesterday. We were like hanging out, and when I got there, Suki heard me come into the room, and she like came out and like greeted me and was like cuddling on me and like rolling at my feet.
It was super cute.
It was it's Suki, so I wasn't expecting that warm of a welcome, honestly.
Right.
It was like, oh my gosh, she really did miss me.
Yeah.
You have been recognized.
Yeah.
So yeah, the glues, the real glues. So let's briefly touch on, we've done we had our Glee Project episodes. And so they recently released an anniversary thing, like a Glee Project and oral history. They interviewed a lot of the people. Cameron talked about the weird pressure they put on him. Lindsay Pierce, I think, was the most telling because she talked about how the editing really did make her a villain and how she was really young and didn't know what they were doing, and how in the vulnerability episode she talked about being sexually assaulted. So yeah, Lindsay Pierce talked about being sexually assaulted and how they cut that from the episode and made it sound like she was just saying, oh, I feel fake because I'm pretty or something, when there was a much larger story there.
Yeah, because I was like, that's really weird. Like, why is that the thing she's vulnerable about? And that makes sense that they cut something out that was way more serious. Because
they wanted to make her a villain.
And they were very successful.
And apparently she still gets death threats and hate mail at the theater she works at because she's a Broadway star now. And people calling her a sexual assaulter because, the adult men in charge told her to kiss Cameron and then he was upset. Right.
It's very classically reality TV.
Yeah. And they talked about living in weird conditions and sleeping weird and
they said it was they slept at a camp, and I was like, they didn't even put these kids in a hotel? What the hell?
No, because with reality TV, what happens a lot of times is they will put you all in one place so that you're, gonna get sick of each other, and then they sort of make the conditions inhumane, but not quite there. So you're waking up at insane hours and going to bed really late, and they probably didn't do this because they're children, but a lot of times alcohol will be provided in copious quantities, but not
no food or water,
not food, because they want to make you hungry and angry, and it's not good. Reality TV sucks.
Yeah. So,
and I will say I'm very guilty of watching reality TV because it's just so good.
Yeah. The people that make these shows are good at what they do, and that sucks for the people who are on the show.
No, I know with Love Island, it's horrible. Their conditions are bad. But they're not allowed to drink that much though, because they don't want them to get super drunk. But just waking up and going to bed really early.
It's like when I went to that Christian camp. It wasn't even a camp. It was like a retreat in college, and I was old enough to be like, oh, you're emotionally manipulating me, because like they like wouldn't let you sleep, or like they do weird things. Maybe like it's time to confess your sins to your friend Josh, and you're like, why?
Oh my gosh, that sounds like we had like Snowball, and it was kind of like that. It was against like drugs and alcohol, and you'd go into like the woods and just like talk about like life and stuff with like people you never knew, and everyone would cry, and it was really weird. And then your parents like wrote you letters and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, it's emotional manipulation. Yeah,
The Midwest can be weird, I swear.
I mean, I grew up there, but I didn't have that. So
I mean, yeah, we're all Midwesterners, which is why we're able to talk about Glee, because it's allegedly set in the Midwest.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Even though some of those sets, I'm like, that piano store does not exist in Ohio. And Damien McGinty talked about how it was hard for him when he was cast on the show, because his character was such a paper thin stereotype of Irishness that like he couldn't relate to it at all, because it wasn't anything real. Like he was walking around saying top of the morning and not knowing what trash talk was. So he was like, yeah, it was really, I felt like I was just kind of there. And he was like, you know, when they talked about doing other seasons, he's kind of ready to move on, because he's like, you know, some people signed up to just sit in the background and they were cool with that. But he's like, I don't really want to spend all my time doing that.
yeah.
So, which is fair, because Jen Ushkowitz, Tony Award winner, deserved better. And so did Damien McGinty of Celtic Thunder. That was the main stuff. They did talk about when the sound producer tried to get Abraham to like label their sexuality, and they like wouldn't do it.
Yeah, we talked about that on the show. We're like, that's really weird.
Yeah, and he talked about how weird that was, or they talked, I can't remember. But they're doing well. They're on The Boys now. Like they have a great career. And then
Wait, who is this?
Abraham.
He had
Descriptions.
bright red hair. He kind of was like a scene.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah, look it up. Yeah, and then who was those were the main kind of like big T reveals, and that like everything was just kind of like they were trying to figure out as they did it. They mentioned all the scandals that came out with the guy who plays Ryder, you know, who won season 2. Yeah, so I mean, check out the articles. You can learn more about what happened with the Glee project, but none of it was that shocking, but it's interesting.
I'm looking at the Insider Glee Project behind the scenes oral history article. And one of the images they have from the second season is when Samuel Larson came on, and he's literally not wearing shoes or socks in this image. And I'm like, how did I not see that when I watched this? Maybe because I was watching a mirror image of it and I was really distracted by that. But,
yeah, we're watching it on the depths of the internet.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Shana, the blonde girl, she talked about how she kind of came out on like tearfully, dramatically to Ryan Murphy because she was like panicking, and they cut that, and she was actually really glad that they did. Yeah. Because like she wasn't ready to fully come out. And so that was like a compassionate side of it. So like talking to the people, you know, I mean, they didn't seem entirely like monsters, but it definitely, it was a bit of a mess. And then the big news that's been taking over TikTok and every social media, Leah Michelle's long promised redemption quotation marks arc. She opened to as Fanny Price. You know, the reports can't decide how many standing ovations she got. You'll get 4, you'll get 6, you'll get 7, you'll get 8. So the jury's still out on whether Leah Michelle can read, but we know her fans cannot count.
Yeah. So we were reading this article in our group chat or whatever, and I just want to read just a couple little things. So Jonathan Groff was there, and the article says, who looked positively ecstatic every time the actress was on stage, rocking back and forth rhythmically, sobbing at various points, and jumping up to lead each ovation. And then they interviewed someone in the audience, And his person said, we're Gleeks first, humans second. I died. Like, I can't.
Which is interesting because obviously they're putting their love of Rachel Berry above their desire for other actors to have a safe working environment.
Yeah, you know.
So, because that's one thing people have talked about, how she hasn't really addressed the stuff that happened with Samantha Ware and like her general kind of bad behavior. When asked about it, she said, I'm a perfectionist, and that makes me kind of blind to what was going on. I don't know if that's an excuse. And then she addressed the illiteracy rumors by saying, I came in every day and I knew my lines. Not I read my lines. I knew my lines. Honestly, I do think she can read, but it was, she was like, this wouldn't happen if I were a man. Which is a classic female celebrity thing when they do something problematic. And it's like, it works because it's partially true. And I do feel like people just love tearing women down. And the fact that the discourse is more about her being illiterate than the like allegations of racism and abuse on set and like bullying, because that's more of a problem. And that's something there's like evidence of her doing.
Right.
Yeah. I always thought that her being illiterate was kind of like a joke and not really a discourse. Has it evolved?
Some people have said accusing her of illiteracy is ableism. So that's one of those chronically online takes.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say that. But there's great memes. Like this Laird meme that was like, God, when she reads, please don't make Queen Elizabeth reincarnate as Trisha Paytas's baby. And then the person morphed into that picture of Leah Michelle. And it's like, because God can't read. Oh, it was the layers of the meme. Gold.
Oh yeah, the Queen died. Cullen, I can't believe that's something that we didn't even talk about at all.
Oh, the Queen did die.
Finally.
I was in class when we all found out, and our teacher was like, I don't even know if I want to teach anymore. She just like wanted to go home. I was like, I think everybody wants to go home. Like, we're not okay.
Yeah, it's like, let's just use this as an excuse to go home.
I know. Yeah, second week, let's just go.
She's been queen for our entire lives. Our whole lives.
Exactly. That's what I said. I'm like, I've never not had her my queen. I don't know what to do.
How many presidents and popes has she outlasted? Like
so many.
But people talk about problematic things that in a way she was a part of, though sometimes when they refer to them, they act like she was in charge of the government, which isn't really her position.
It's more like figurehead, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it is, again, if we're talking about tearing people down because they're women, blaming the entire colonial empire of Britain on one symbolic figurehead that was super duper old and just died is a little like
questionable.
Yeah. But I don't know much about Queen Elizabeth other than I really loved Claire Foy's performance in The Crown.
I dropped off. I dropped off
because of it.
I literally could not watch
Olivia Colman.
Yeah, like
no, I was so into Claire Foy, but
Claire Foy was so good. It was
and they did pause production, right? You're right, because of they're gonna make it eventually. They're gonna finish it, but
they're making. I know there's a documentary on her out right now or coming out because she died.
I think my favorite part of her life was when she wore bright green and everyone keyed her.
Oh, they like put the
yes.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah,
it holds a special place in my heart because that's my job.
I did see some memes that were like, the Queen whistled a lot, but Leah Michelle as funny girl, she couldn't. And then the other one was, this is a dark time. This is the time of Leah Michelle and Camilla Parker Bowles, patron saints of the long game.
I mean,
shout out to Diana the Musical.
I honestly, I wanted to watch Diana the Musical after I found out the Queen died. I was like, you know what? They're like, this is the best time to do this. I'm Irish, and there's a lot to unpack with the Queen and the monarchy. What I will say is England isn't the only country to have one, and I also don't like Charles.
And
Who does though?
Everybody does.
yeah, I'm surprised they're making him king. I thought they were gonna skip to William.
I thought they were going to too, because he's like,
he's popular. I mean, there are the rumors of that he likes getting pegged, but does that really matter?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think even
the
he's
Brits, maybe.
that popular. I think that it's just like, I guess he's better than his father kind of
I mean,
sentiment.
William's popularity did go down in that, like, him and Kate just did a tour of the Caribbean and made a lot of really bad blunders optically. And I'm like, but how many blunders can really... How could they have saved the image because it is just colonialism? I don't know.
Like that whole thing is a blunder, if you can call it that.
Yeah.
But back to Leah Michelle.
Back to Leah Michelle. Yeah, she's on Funny Girl.
Life imitates art.
Life imitates art. She's out sick, so we think she's going to Los Angeles to audition to a space opera.
For sure.
We know, and now after this episode, we know how that ends.
We know how that ends. Not well. Not well. It's scary. It's a scary time that we live in with how much life imitates art. I feel bad for Beanie because I feel like she was set up to fail. And I do like the idea of a redemption arc for Leah, but I feel like it's just career-wise, not like she hasn't really apologized or
Yeah, I mean, you have to take responsibility for things in order to actually apologize for them.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's human, decent human.
Because I mean, she had a kid that was years ago. Like, people can change a lot, so it's not like she's gonna be the same way she was, especially right after her fiance died.
Right.
People can change. It's just the fact that there hasn't seemed to be a lot of work. I don't know. But there's one last thing, and then we will get to Stella's Glee journey in the episode. I saw a TikTok that was talking about Leah Michelle's book and how in it she talks about like, oh, I didn't out Jonathan Groff because I knew he wasn't ready, and then how when they did the Spring Awakening, and she in that story she basically describing feeling empathy for the first time, and then we find out later in the Spring Awakening doc she didn't. That wasn't the case. She was wondering why he wasn't into her. And was like flirting with him and stuff. So like the first time she felt empathy was fake. Which I don't know if that's true. I'm sure she does feel empathy. But there's just so much. You could talk about Leah Michelle for hours. And especially because this episode is about Leah Michelle's character starting a redemption arc. It's wild. It's wild to see it in hindsight. Stella, what are you drinking today?
Well, right now I'm kind of nursing a hangover, so I'm sticking with water because it's game day yesterday and it was a little rough. So, kind of have to balance out all the toxins in my body right now.
Valid.
We stand a hydrated queen.
We should crown you in English.
You do a good job. I can see it.
Just kind of do whatever.
I'm drinking Francis Ford Coppola. I think I don't know. It's whatever red blend, I think. It's really good. I get it all the time. And I open it just special for season 6, the last season of Glee.
I know we're on the last 13 episodes of this show.
I'm so glad it's not a full fucking season.
I'm drinking the leftovers of the Joshua Tree trip. Golden State cider, and I have lined up a Ballast Point Brewing from San Diego, a grapefruit sculpin IPA.
Nice. My parents brought me 3 cases of ranch water yesterday. I'm like, it's just Joshua Tree all over again. I was like, all right.
I finished my Truly popsicle. I think everyone needs to know that Truly makes popsicles. They're, really good when they're frozen.
Once they melt,
you're.
That sucks because that's the best part of those popsicles is drinking the liquid.
Is it like flat, or is it just like?
No, it's just the liquid. The liquid at the bottom from like pushing it up the tube, is gross.
Damn.
What flavor Truly popsicle?
That one's lemon. They also have mango, strawberry, and No, I think only those 3 flavors in the box. And since I finished that, I opened a sake jelly shot in a can.
Wow.
And it's mixed berry. You guys, I had one yesterday. I liked it much more. This is super, super sweet. But it's interesting because I'm on a new diet, which means I'm not eating or drinking as much sweet things. And I also can't eat or drink gluten, which is why I have the sake, because it's rice instead of any sort of like typical grain-based beer or alcohol. But this is like drinking gummy bears.
Oof.
Yeah.
I hate crime.
The blood of gummy bears.
The blood of gummy
The
bears.
blood of Haribos.
I really like the mom waters. If you've ever tried those, and those are gluten-free.
Mom water?
It just is like flavored water, and it's like a vodka water, and you can't taste it. And it's a little dangerous if you just keep drinking those, but they're really good.
Karen, Linda. All right, I gotta get me some of these.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try some.
So Stella, what is your journey with the show Glee? What is your journey to Gleetionals?
I watched it when it was like on TV, honestly, mainly in like middle school. I didn't really get any of like the subtle like digs or anything because I was like a kid. And then once Finn died, I stopped because I was really sad because he was my favorite character. Then once I went to college, I fully stopped for good because I couldn't deal with all of their collegeness and going back.
You're like Kate Hudson as a dance teacher. No, thank you.
I know. I'm like, if I went back to high school when I was in college, I'm like, I wouldn't. I'm like, why are you still going back? I'm like, I'm in college right now, and I would go back to college, but not high school. I'm like, that's.
Yeah, even honestly, after you graduate, you go back to college. Like, even though it's not as obvious because college students are a variety of ages, it still feels weird. And one time I had someone be like, "Why are you still here?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm on spring break in grad school. I'm visiting friends." They're like, "Why are you here?" Yeah. So I can't imagine being in a high school. Not even mine, just anywhere near a high school, because my high school was my basement, as we all know.
I was gonna say, you've been there. I've seen you there. You recorded from your high school basement.
All right, so Stella, what are your BuzzFeed quiz results? Okay, what I gotta think, what character is Stella?
Mine was kind of shocking, I'll be honest.
Okay, I feel like, see, if I had to cast with someone, I would pick Brittany, but I feel like you got Quinn.
No, I got Kurt. Is that kind of weird? I was like, but then again, it was like, because half the answers, I think I was like, Mr. Shu started singing. I literally said, leave the classroom or like because of it. So they were like, you kind of have that. And I'm like, hey, it makes sense because he doesn't care and he just does whatever he wants. So I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I'm going to guess for Glee boyfriend, you got Sam.
Yes, another Sam.
I don't really remember. Like, I didn't know he was in season 6 when I saw it today.
He's really a very enduring character when you think of like how late he was introduced, which isn't that late, but like season 2, you know?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, not even that. Yeah, he disappeared and then came back.
And now he's like, I'm in it till the end, baby.
What's funny is like, out of everyone else who comes back to the school, as we'll talk about, he looks like an adult. Like that man is 35.
Yep.
Yeah. A very attractive 35, but
I'll still look so young.
Yeah. No, because like Darren Criss still looks pretty young in this. But it's also interesting to think like, okay, right now Rachel is hanging out with Blaine and Sam, 2 characters that weren't even in the pilot. Like how far this show has come.
Yeah.
They're still holding on.
They keep holding on.
Yeah.
By Avril Lavigne for the Aragon movie.
My favorite song about a blue dragon.
But yeah, like Quinn's not here. Tina, Artie, like all these pilot characters gone, you know, but it's just crazy.
And their sleep paralysis demon mirror version show up in her pilot. for Artie and Mercedes and
Brittany.
Brittany.
Her pilot that apparently was aired live.
I was confused about that.
Yeah, I think
it must
so.
have been.
I think it was supposed to be like a live camera sitcom.
Or was
Which
literally
does
no one
not
in the
exist.
audience and they just put the laugh track over.
But then, like, she says the singing was cut. So I guess it was cut.
Was it just terribly edited?
I mean,
Or maybe it was cut out of the script. Maybe that's
I think it
what
was
they
cut
meant.
out of the script.
Okay.
But, like, also, remember when she read the sitcom or the script in the Rachel Berry Project, untitled Rachel Berry Project episode? And it was like her standing there describing, like, the meaning of love. Like,
Yeah.
that's
That
not
doesn't-
the same show that
This
we
show-
watched too much of.
this show clip was definitely giving, like, the weird one that Mary
Yeah.
Holleran wrote.
That's what I don't understand is that, like, she went through making her own pilot. Clearly, that's not the one that aired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also meta commentary on, I think, the world's reaction to season 5B or Glee 2.0, you know?
Yeah.
But we'll get there. Okay, so our storylines, haven't thought of breaking down the storylines until this very moment. It's really just Rachel returning and walking around and seeing people.
And then there's Kurt.
Oh, there's
Kurt,
Kurt
yeah.
and Blaine.
Blur.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Blur.
Rachel walking around seeing people. Yeah, that's about it.
It really did feel like they're setting up like a whole new premise, which is wild because this is such a short season, and season 5 just dropped us in the middle of the continuing season 4 arcs. And like,
Yeah.
this is Glee 3.0.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you had mentioned when we were talking about it earlier that like this is like a good like reset. Like everything kind of just does kind of go back to a new slate. Do I like that new slate? No.
But should this have potentially been what season 4 was?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I think this is where, you know, Riverdale has made a lot of insane
Even
choices.
in season 4, season 5.
Yeah. But like,
yeah.
you know, I think I think something that Riverdale did was they graduated and they did a time jump.
Right.
And then they were all adults, and, you know, and they had reasons for going back to the high school because they were like working there and all this, you know, like, I mean, the show is insane. So like, it's not like it makes that much sense, but like, I think you could have done that with, if this was going to be like Rachel or, you know, Finn or whoever picking up the Glee Club, you could have just done that. And then the Marleys and the whatevers would have been just the kids there. I mean, it makes more sense if Puck had a brother he doesn't know about for him to be a lot younger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they could have
Yeah.
easily done it, especially because a lot of the main cast looked like Finn looked like an adult at this point in season 4. You know, he in season 1 he did look like a teenager, but by season 4 it was like, yeah, this man's in his 30s. So they could have just cut and said he was like 25 or something.
Yeah, I think because they were holding on so tightly to the fact that like we're growing up with these characters, and you know it's really important to the audience that like they're growing up, they're seeing themselves, and if they skip ahead multiple years, they're going to be too ahead of their audience at that point.
And I guess like the pop music one entirely makes sense, but I mean, we had the whole Wrecking Ball debacle where
Yes.
it was Marley was singing it in a timeline where the song wouldn't have been released yet. So in the Glee universe, Marley wrote Wrecking Ball. Yeah, it's yeah, I get why you're saying they did that, but they didn't really commit either way. I don't know. It's been messy, and
It's very muddled.
This is a more interesting premise than a lot of what we've gotten.
Yeah, and I think also like I kept thinking about, because Rachel has her star that we kind of have as a symbol for her from the very first episode, which I would say is Glee Point is 1.0, and then season 1 happens and it's Glee 2.0. But anyway, but like thinking about Rachel in season 1, like episode 1, and the fact that she's coming back to replace Mr. Shu to restart the Glee program is kind of an arc I would not have pictured. And obviously they're doing it for necessity because that was supposed to be Finn's role. But I think it's really interesting for her that like she's being humbled in a way that's not like punishing her. It's like you get a chance to do something rewarding again, something that's probably going to fulfill you.
Yeah, I think that's actually a very interesting role for Rachel. Like, they're finally giving her an opportunity to grow, which is insane that in a 6-season show, it takes until season 6 for the main character to like grow.
They're in the writers' room, like, guys, I don't think they like Rachel out there.
But is this gonna be?
Because
I feel like she's had opportunities and then just hasn't. Like there have been opportunities and then they just like revert her back to what she was. So I'm waiting to see if it's going to happen again.
And I wonder if it's because they had her on that forward trajectory toward Broadway, toward becoming the big star she always wanted to be. And now she's not working toward that. Like she is, but right now, like she's focused on the Glee Club. And so she's humbled. So maybe like she's going to have to grow.
Yeah. So it opens, she's in her trailer. Jim Rash. It opens
on Jim Rash in his car, and I was like, is this guy okay?
So he comes in and he's all like, I got fired, the pilot.
Her publicist is reading articles to her.
Yeah. And it's like, she might have a feature in TV, but this is awful, And Jim Rash says, if we were to do another episode, there would be protesters from UNICEF, the NAACP, PETA. And it's such it is like they're making fun of how Glee season 5, the later half season 5 was received. Yeah. Because people are like, what is this? And they're like, he's like, I'm fired. And she's like, oh, I can't imagine what you're going through. He's like,
I'm gonna run another network. It's fine.
Yeah, like you're fired and you'll probably never work in TV again. So she takes her bag, her gold star falls off. She starts singing Alanis Morissette's Uninvited.
And she's escorted off the lot
in like a not
even to like the parking lot where her car would be, to the curb.
That's
a real walk home.
It was definitely Paramount.
Yeah, that was the Paramount lot.
It was Paramount lot, and golf carts are a real thing. People just use them.
I saw her standing out there with that box, and I'm like, I had an Airbnb near there when I first moved to LA. But yeah, she's I guess uninvited from the Hollywood industry. She's out. Everything fit in a little box.
She looked like she was like getting fired from a corporate office.
Yeah, that was so weird.
And apparently she doesn't have an apartment in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I was like, okay, where is she staying? Why doesn't she have a car? It just dumps her on the curb. I laughed really hard when that woman just like went around the back, got her box, and was like, here, bitch.
And then she goes home. She's back in her parents' house. We see Leroy, one of her dads, because they're not paying for Jeff Goldblum in season 6.
I was just gonna say, I was like, no, they weren't they didn't plan to have him get a divorce and all this stuff. No, they just could not afford Jeff Goldblum at this point.
Mm-hmm. And I for sure thought that they were just gonna do like how they do with the rest of everyone who they can't afford, is just like leave them in the background and they never show up again. But they actually wrote him off. I thought maybe he died and they didn't tell her, but then it was like a divorce, and I was like, oh, okay.
We were really worried about your mental health during your seclusion after your terrible pilot got canceled, but Dad died. And I have to sell the house because I can't afford the mortgage.
But yeah, they're selling the house because she's like, I don't know how long I'll be staying with you. And he's like, you can stay with me as long as you like, but we are selling the house. So it's just, she's at an all-time low. And
love that band.
Love that band. And the Leroy is just like, sometimes this was so on the nose. I was like, you didn't need to say this. Like, anyone who's watched a narrative before can get this. But it's like, sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to like find your way or something.
Yeah.
Which is basically what's happening to Leah, or to Rachel and Leah in a way. And that's interesting. It's more interesting than watching her achieve all her dreams faster than like anyone has ever done.
Yeah.
So she's, she's feeling down.
I also think it's really interesting that like, so I experienced this too, like when I went away to college and like anytime I like came back, like my parents had already split up. My mom moved out of the place that we were staying in when I was there in high school. My dad also moved out of like where he was when I was in high school. So a lot of things had changed for me. And so like, she's also going through a lot of really uncertain change in her personal life and her family life, like where she defines as home. And so I think that that's also a really interesting point that they're bringing in. It's just like, it's going to be very different for her. Like she's going to be up against a lot of things that she has to grow.
Which is such a smart writing choice because, the chance where they had to do this before was when she choked on her NIADA audition. Mm-hmm. But instead, she just harassed Carmen Thibodeau, played by Whoopi Goldberg.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Tina was there. It was Tina's idea. But
like, it would have been interesting. Like, they're finally giving her real hardship other than, Finn dying, which is hardship, but that didn't happen because the writers decided it, So she's at a low point, and then we go to McKinley. Sue is truly evil. Chair, make it electric. Sue should not be allowed to interact with humans or animals. She has a baby at home. That baby needs to be given to someone else.
I'm actually very concerned for her child. Like, very, very.
Yeah, she has a baby with Down syndrome.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That they don't really ever talk about unless Finn was going to say something about the baby that is like offensive. That's the only time they bring her up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I find that to be offensive. So.
Yeah, she's really a prop to like make Sue more human, but like Hitler was also human. So, like Sue's bad. Like it's not funny bad. It's like, this is monstrous. Like, and
she has completely forced change the diet. It's literally just kale.
Kale.
Protein powder.
And protein shakes.
Things to reduce your sex drive
And then she has I guess it's like a body scan, like a BMI scan.
A mandatory fat shaming.
Like weigh-ins and stuff.
Yep, it's a weigh-in.
Like an alarm goes off when a person who is overweight walks through it. And then she makes them get into like a chain link pen on the side of the entrance. Pig noses. She calls it the pig pen. So get in the pig pen.
That should be a crime. Put her in prison.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they like let that slide in the show.
Yeah.
And like even what year was this?
This was 2015.
15? Okay. Yeah. So even like that's not that long ago. And it's just like I understand they want to try to play it off for laughs, but like it's just not funny.
It's like just watching children be traumatized. Like Sue shouldn't even be allowed to look at a flower again. She doesn't deserve that. Flowers don't deserve to be looked at by her.
For some reason, she can like get away with anything on this show. Not her personally, but like they use her as a sounding board to write whatever offensive shit they want.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But like
it's gotten so much worse in just this episode.
Yeah.
Well, just the fact that like it's supposed to be a joke that no one's like this, but essentially the Republican Party is going to be like this in a year until now. Like swap out Sue Sylvester with Tucker Carlson. I don't see a difference.
Yeah, I mean, like
this isn't funny. This is just how real awful people are. Like she's using free prison labor. She's destroyed the arts. Like she's doesn't like people to listen to music. She...
Well, not only did she destroy the art, she also got rid of the humanities. So no one is learning English. No one is learning history. No one is
These
learning...
kids can't get into college.
No. Like, there are literal state minimums in order for you to graduate from a program. And if the arts and humanities aren't... Like, if you didn't take those classes, you don't graduate.
Yeah. And she's talking about people...
Sure, I understand. Shut up, Siri.
I don't understand either theory.
Oh my God, she recorded so much of that.
But like, also just the whole, I hate the whole we're falling behind China thing, because I'm like, Charles Dickens didn't write Hard Times and whatever 18 the fuck for us to still be like, the only things important to learn in life are math and science. Like the fact that we're still doing this and like competing against these countries with like, what is our end goal? What is the goal? Like, is it just to have the most wealth and power? Because that makes you miserable.
Yes.
I'm going to cite Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol. Like, I'm like, these people didn't do the humanities. They didn't do the humanities, so they don't understand.
I appreciate your personal, like, anger towards this. I feel like we all have it, but this country is going to shit because it's, you know, capitalist. And that's literally what capitalism is. It's trying to be, you know, the best with the most money.
Who cares about culture?
If you have the most money, you can write your own culture by stealing everyone else's.
Speaking of England, speaking of the person on TikTok who united America by saying Americans have no culture and only speak English and Hispanics aren't American.
Wow.
The great thing about the internet is we learn that Europeans are just as ignorant as everyone else. So Sue is still caning people. That is referenced again.
Yes.
I haven't forgotten Sue is caning people.
She basically is like, the caning wasn't enough. Like, that's kind of what she's saying.
She releases dogs on students.
Yeah, she sinks dogs on people.
That was weird.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And people are like screaming and like cowering in the hallway.
There's
little did we know
saying, like,
all the dogs want is pets. That's it. They just running after these students because they want pets.
You know why the dogs are doing that? It's probably because they're starved. That's why dogs do stuff like that.
Well, and they're trained to.
Yeah. Sue should be processed by PETA. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done with the Sue Sylvester because like
she's awful.
She's awful.
And it's not
the
funny.
Show I know is going to try and do some kind of like Sue is blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no. Awful, unforgivable. Like, I guess I do believe in like forgiveness, but like forgiveness from like you're behind bars. Like, I guess you're allowed to color, but that's a disservice to crayons. Like, she's so bad and it's just not funny. And so Rachel sees this. So that's the thing. The school has insane security, but Rachel can just walk around.
She's skinny.
Yeah.
She gets right against the
it's all
pig pen.
about fat shaming. She's a skinny person.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with weapons, which was an actual serious issue they had to deal with 2 seasons ago, 70 years ago. I don't know. So long ago. Which is also a very current issue, even in 2015, especially in 2015, where like that is a big security issue. But no, they care more about fat people, which again is like, it is reflective of that conservative perspective that she's taking on, and it's not funny. But anyway,
because she talks about BMI being down, which anyone who knows anything about nutrition will tell you that BMI
is BS.
Yeah, it can be used, but it's not reliable.
No, it's definitely not.
Yeah. So Rachel basically comes up to our Dark Lord, Sue Sylvester Satan, and is like, why are there no arts? Why is there no Glee Club? And she's like, I got rid of that. I forced those kids to transfer schools.
Yeah, and I was like,
she calls them transvestites.
Yeah,
that was.
And I was like, oh, I guess that's like a convenient way to write Marley et al. Off the show. Okay.
Actually, you know, I'm so happy that they're not there.
I know, I am too. They're probably in a much better place. Unless she forced them to go like to like a military school or something. But like, I think they're in a better place.
Marley would full on murder Sue. I think Marley would break. She would.
That would be an interesting show to watch.
She sings Wrecking Ball reprise on a Wrecking Ball crushing Sue.
Breaking of Marley.
And then she becomes Supergirl.
Yes, perfect. But like an anti-hero Supergirl.
Yeah. So she's just like, no Glee Club. You're the best the arts had to offer, and you're not great.
Because she mentions her shitty pilot, and I'm like, listen, there are a lot of people that put a hand in making that show as awful as it was, and you cannot blame the star.
Yeah,
Like you just can't.
An actor, especially like a new actor like Rachel, would have so little to do.
Because they're just trying to make it. So
it was actually like when she was having the conversation with the producer guy at the beginning, I was like, oh, he's pointing the finger at her when it's obviously not her fault. Like, yeah, that was a very strange conversation and didn't really make sense.
Even going back to him in the live pilot, like Rachel was like trying to like make it work.
Yeah.
Going back to Jim Rash though, I wonder how his space opera did. I'm curious.
Yeah, probably not well because we saw that screen test.
Well, he got fired, so
yeah, he doesn't get to take that project with him. Yeah, he doesn't get to take that project.
Though honestly, a space opera musical would be probably more interesting than just a regular space
opera.
Yeah.
They're singing in Italian.
It's giving me like Gallivant vibes, but just like Gallivant. In space. So like Gallivant and Firefly smushed together.
Yes.
Honestly, coming to Disney Plus.
I think for sure. I think it's an interesting show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Barlow and Bear could write songs for it to pay for their Netflix lawsuit. So Rachel's like, okay, there's no arts. And then so Shu is dancing around with his little baby. He's terrifying.
I hated that.
The baby is cute. I would like to clarify. Will is terrifying.
Adorable.
Yeah, the baby was cute.
Idea where Emma is.
And they did not want to pay Gemma Mace.
Are we talking about Blaine in the Blurt
the
stuff?
The coffee shop. We'll get to Blurt later.
Okay.
But Rachel's in the coffee shop with Blaine.
And who notices
great
her?
In that blue sweater. Principal Figgy Fig.
He works in the coffee shop. Again, he's in a better place.
Yeah.
He's still the janitor. He works both jobs because Sue cut his wages. Yeah.
I thought like he just like quit because.
Yeah, I thought he was only a barista. I missed that.
And he's like, Rachel Berry, you remind me that no matter how shitty my life has gotten, it could be worse. Your coffee's on me. And so, Rachel's humiliated and they're drinking coffee. And Rachel is like, oh, where's Kurt? And Blaine's like, oh gosh, you really went into hiding. We are not together anymore. Yeah. And he's like, after we broke up, I let my study slip. Carmen Thibodeau played by Whoopi Goldberg, cut me from NIADA. Blaine's been going through it, but he got a job coaching the Warblers. He's back with his parents. And
Rachel asked an excellent question. You don't need a college degree to do that. And he's like,
said,
nope.
The faculty advisor is out sick. I would like to collectively remind everyone of the time someone said Andrew Reynolds should play Blaine's dad. And he was like, how dare you?
Aren't they like maybe 5 years apart?
Yeah, and he's like, that would also mean oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the actor who played Cooper. What's his name? Caffrey.
Yeah. God, what is his name?
But like that very much adult man's dad.
Yeah. God, that was a good episode. I should go back to that one.
Big Brother. So then they're like, but we always have each other. It's you and me against the world. Wearing with the little hat. And then they sing Suddenly Seymour in this very schwanky coffee shop.
Is it the Lima Bean though?
No, it's just a different coffee shop.
They went to a different coffee shop?
It's a music store.
A music store, yeah.
It's not a coffee shop. There's cellos and violins all over the place.
I missed the whole part.
I thought they were at the library. I don't know. It looked like
there's all this like wood paneling. I'm like, nothing that nice is in Lima, Ohio.
And then all of a sudden, like he's at a piano. And then like I was like doing some stuff, they're singing and like I'm singing along, whatever. And like,
yeah.
And then I looked up and I was like, this is the Lima Bean now? What's going on?
The location for this song makes no sense.
They
I don't know
didn't
why.
need to leave.
Yeah, they didn't need to
The
leave.
song has such a tenuous connection too. It's just man
Very
is there for woman. Same
Yes.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so strange.
I have recent baggage with this song because I was at a birthday party, a coworker's birthday party, and we're gonna do karaoke. And we're like, we set it up. We're like, who wants to start? Who wants to start? No one wants to start. Me and my coworker, we're not good singers. We do Rain on Me. And then no
Wonderful.
one keeps going, and the computer just pulls up Levitating by Dua Lipa. We do
Great.
it. Again, not good singers. And we're like, who wants to do it? And then these people are like, oh yeah, we'll do it. Suddenly, there's choreography. There's staging. They're belting out. Suddenly, Seymour, they're theater kids. They're amazing singers. And I was just like, you know what?
Fuck you guys.
You couldn't start it. You had to wait till I embarrassed myself and then got on. Like me and my other coworker were just these people, I don't work with these people, but like me and my coworker were sitting there in the kitchen just kind of looking back and forth like, what? And then like on Monday we're like, okay, that was annoying, right?
That's what karaoke is, though. Like everyone has to be bad.
Yeah.
To make it fun.
And then,
That's what
They
we do
wanna
it. That's
show
how we do it.
off.
So
yeah,
They
no
wanted to
show
like
offs.
they were like, okay, we want to like gauge the fun level. Okay, like these people are having a great time. We'll have a great time. But like they can't sing badly.
And
yeah.
then they sang Shallow.
Oh, why?
that's
No.
not like some of my coworkers that are good at singing, we don't invite them when we go because they're so much better and they like to sing, and it just embarrasses everybody else when we're trying to have
Yeah.
a fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Adina Menzel said, leave the karaoke to the people who can't sing.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's fair, Adele Dazeem, Queen of Arundel, or Queen Emeritus of Arundel, she resigned, but yeah.
I mean, you're not right. You're not wrong.
Yeah, she's running around that ice horse. So
In that pantsuit.
yeah. Okay, so they sing Suddenly Seymour. Okay, yeah, Will's dancing around with his baby, and he's like, I could
But we're the baby.
We're
And
the
I literally
baby.
wrote, I am not your baby.
Yeah, that was weird.
It
And
was
Yeah.
strange.
I think I'm like number one hater of Will Shue. So that was just like I never liked him. He was always weird. So I'm like, I kind of fast forward through that part because I'm like, I don't need to see him.
Yeah. No, also like this is something that like with the camera work like that he has done with his wife, Emma, supposed mother of this child.
Supposed.
I mean, this kid does have fiery red hair, so I'm
Yes,
assuming it
very
is
red.
her kid. But yeah, I was so uncomfortable.
You know, do you ever, this is such a tangent, I'll try and keep it short, but are you ever just possessed by memory of a meme? Like, I'm walking around the swap meet today, and all I can think of is the All's Girls Know How to Do Today is twerk, be bisexual, charge phone, eat hot chip, and lie. Do you remember that one?
No.
Okay. Well, it possessed me today. Okay, let's see. What song? So he says the vocal adrenaline is in like New Directions. No Mercedes to Park and Bark, no Heart and Soul. They need fancy dance moves. And he's
No
doing
Journey.
No Journey. He's doing flips.
Which was good. I think that was good. No
Yeah, it's probably a
Journey.
smart choice.
Doesn't need it.
I mean, they only have so many good songs, and only some of them can be turned into show choir songs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they're singing Dance the Night Away, and they're flipping around and they're dancing. And, you know, they are great performers because they don't have to be actors or singers. They just have to be dancers who can lip sync.
Yeah.
At least I noticed in this right now, they've done a lot to make the high schoolers look like high schoolers compared to the Glee kids who are supposed to be adults.
Yeah. No, like you mean like these specific vocal adrenaline people?
Yeah, and even
Like-
just the other people.
Yeah, I mean-
Kinley.
Yeah. I actually said, I was like, they don't look like the Jonathan Groff era where like they're clearly like 7-year seniors, you know, like these people look like, okay, you could be like 18, like a senior.
Yeah, like believable. Like I'm willing to suspend some disbelief, but like there were people that were like, that is a 40-year-old man.
Like that person has a ton of wrinkles.
So yeah, they're doing that, and Rachel comes in and is all like,
Well, no, when they exit and they're just like, whatever, cool. They don't even say anything to him. He's like, okay, well, I'm in my office if any of you have problems. And I was like, you are so fucking sad. I hate you.
And
That
Rich,
felt very, very high school, though.
He just wants to be a mentor to these kids. And they're like, we've got our shit figured out. Thanks.
he's paid more. He tells Rachel, he's paid
5
more
times
there.
more.
Which, you got to do that.
Which
You have a
adds up.
baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so Rachel is like, oh, the new directions, Glee. I'm sad. I don't need a pep talk. And he says some bullshit I don't even remember. And
Oh, I was
like-
not listening because
I didn't give you
literally
a pep talk either way.
it looked so romantically shot that I was like, are they about to
Yeah.
make out right now?
I was like, it's not Emma, it's Rachel's kid. And I've always thought they were going to get together. I'll be honest, because it was just so weird.
I
He's
mean, it
just
sounds like
connected
something
to his
she would
student.
do.
I mean, I think those actors dated IRL.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
But before
Oh.
Glee.
No
Before
freaking
Glee.
way.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're only like a couple years apart.
And that's so weird to me that he's like a
That's
teacher.
so odd.
it was I think it's a couple years before Glee.
I think it's more than a couple years, but still not like a crazy difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, not like a Leo DiCaprio who can't
And
date.
any person that he dates.
Yeah, he can't date anyone who remembers Princess Diana's death. And I want to know why. I saw that online. I'm like, that's true. What does Leo DiCaprio not want people to know?
I have 4 more years left. And then I'm
Interesting.
not in his dating pool
4
anymore.
more years to date Leo.
Yeah, 4
Gotta
more
go
years.
for
I
it.
got it.
You gotta make your move.
So I think I skipped over this in that. So Rachel goes to Dalton with Blaine and she's like, I'm a loser. Why would you want advice from a loser like me? She doesn't say that, but I wish she did.
Bow.
And he's like, you're a show choir genius. And he brings her in and the Warblers are singing Sing by Ed Sheeran. The third song to be sung on this show that's just called Sing.
That's a good point. They call her a show choir genius. And I can't help but refute that because she is not a show choir person. She is the lead of a show choir. She's not a team player. She's not a show choir genius. She's a fantastic performer and singer.
Yeah,
So
she was
I
gonna
take umbrage with that.
she's gonna have them sing My Headband.
Because you know who is a show choir genius? Blaine Anderson. It makes sense.
Yeah, he makes sense to coach a Glee club.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
So
wasn't
they-
surprised when I saw that because that makes so much sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
they're singing Ed Sheeran, and I'm gonna quote Trin Lavelle's YouTube review of Amazon Cinderella. If I walk into a ball and they're playing Ed Sheeran, it's not the ball for me. I'm going home. But here's the thing: I like a couple Ed Sheeran songs, but not generally. But the Warblers, they always bring it. It was
Yep.
fun. It was exciting.
Mhm.
There was fun choreography. Blaine joins and sings because, of course, I mean, you have Darren Criss. I mean,
They
why not?
pulled a jacket from like a
That pissed me off. It
from
was
like a
his.
show. Yeah, so like that was they just have his jacket like as a shrine.
I think
Is that
it's his
an idea?
office. I think it's Blaine has an office where he put his jacket in a shrine.
Which that's weird. That's like clinging
But-
back to your high school, like
but
wearing your
wasn't-
summer jacket.
That's
like,
where he's clinging to his sophomore year. He did not
Yeah.
graduate
He
from Dalton
Yeah.
Academy.
Yeah, he was only there for 2 years.
Well, he transferred there too because he got beat up at the Sadie Hawkins dance.
So he
So
was
maybe-
there for a
1
year.
year.
He made that big of an impact in 1 year, though. I mean, good
Oh,
for him.
Legend.
for him.
I mean, honestly,
Legend.
though, like if you knew Blaine IRL, he probably would.
Yeah, I was really confused. I thought they had like a shrine to him. I was
He's
really like,
maybe a weepy, doe-eyed pervert, but he's also very charismatic.
he should not be allowed around puppets, though.
puppets or
Ooh.
birds.
Yeah, no.
Or
Let's not forget. So they sing, and Rachel's like, you guys, Blaine, you're too old to be singing and dancing with them. 2, you guys are amazing. And 3, thank you. You guys, made me, it's the first time I've smiled and laughed like that in a really long time. And there's a double meaning because yes, it's a reference to she's been going through this dark time. But even before the failure of the show and leaving Funny Girl, like she lost Finn. And it's like, it's almost interesting that like maybe all the funny girl stuff didn't stick and it didn't mean a lot because she was missing that and she was going through that loss, you know, and she's finally starting to heal. Maybe that's part of her journey in this season. Right. Her journey to regionals. Yeah.
Because when did Finn die?
Season 5. I mean, because he went into rehab in late season 4. Yeah. And then I think he died right as season 5 was beginning.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
His last episode was the season 4 episode, right?
Yeah, it was.
Where he threw a rager in the hallway. And I was like, this isn't the Finn we know. What the heck is going on?
Yeah. Yeah. So Rachel's happening, and then Rachel is like, I need to start the Glee Club or whatever, and she runs into someone weeping in her bed. So let's talk about who I guess we've decided is the other protagonist at this point. Kurt. So Kurt's been trying to make it in New York. It's lonely without everyone. Also, okay, what happened to June Dalloway, the last socialite on Earth who's sponsoring Blaine?
That's what I was wondering. And then she like switched to loving Kurt. So like why are they not both doing this thing?
If they can't afford Jeff Goldblum, they cannot afford Shirley again. They just can't. She did how many episodes? 2 or 3?
You don't need to afford her.
Hit the budget.
She's such a socialite. You could just literally write whatever she's doing. Like, oh, she's doing this thing, but set this up for you.
Here's her assistant, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like they should have been like, yeah. And then that socialite lady, she saw that like I was like losing my stuff. You know, I was just like was like losing it, and she dropped me.
Yeah.
It could have been a direct result of them breaking up. Like they could have worked together, and then she would have
said something because I completely forgot about Shirley MacLaine.
I think June Dalloway knows if Harry Styles spat on Chris Pine. I think she does.
Okay, well, whatever.
Not to open that can of worms. Okay.
Chris Pine dropped his sunglasses at the same time.
So
pop culture is so fucking weird.
Yeah. So okay, where are we? Okay, so Kurt is like, I've been speed dating. And he's speed dating, and he's on Tinder. And then so he sees this guy who's a psychic, and he's like,
his name is Rich.
His name is Rich. He's like, you just broke up with someone. And Kurt's like, oh yeah, how do you know? And he starts talking about him, and he's like, I need to be a psychic to know that you're not over this guy.
And this guy fucking leaves.
He leaves the speed dating. He doesn't go to the next table. He's like, we're out. Yeah, so Kurt, you know, he's trying to get back into it, and then he's also on a date with he's starting his work study or whatever with Niata. He's gonna work.
Which is such a weird thing. I think it's too convenient for the show, because I'm like, I don't imagine that a school would want you to leave for a whole semester from their very intensive theater program to go do like a work study.
Where he's gonna be at a retirement home helping them do a play of Real Housewives that he wrote.
Yeah, and it's like, why can't you do that in New York at the same time as still doing class? It just made no sense to me. It's like, I don't buy that as part of a program, but okay.
Also, we have to briefly mention Chris Colfer's Shrine to Queen Elizabeth. Multiple people sent this to me. Derek, Kayla, former guests of the podcast. He has a whole shrine to Queen Elizabeth, and he was like, thank you so much. You mean so much to this boy across the pond. And it's very Kurt.
It definitely has Kurt energy.
I'm just, the lines between Glee and reality keep getting blurrier. And I'm scared. I'm just going to be walking down the street, and suddenly I'm in an Ariana Grande number.
Okay, hold on. I'm in a I just want to give, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at this image. It's disturbing. And I think the most disturbing part is that he is a Funko Pop version of the Queen. And her corgi.
Oh my
At least the
god.
corgi made it. That's all that matters.
Anyway, okay. Did we talk about that quick little scene with Rachel and Sam where he's like the coach or the assistant
he's
coach?
the assistant coach at football, and
they recruited people from all over the state and basically like put them up in like an apartment complex. But then there's like this postmodernist queer football player who's also a bully.
he calls him a Hummel.
Yes.
I was wondering, is that a Disney Plus like censoring something?
No, I think it's like they turned his name into slang.
Like what?
Like
He's
a
like,
slur.
you're like a flimsy Hummel or something. Like it's used as like a derogatory word for gay.
Oh, I heard homo.
I heard homo too.
I wonder if our subtitles.
Yeah, subtitles. I was gonna say, I was like, I know you guys usually watch the subtitles, like maybe it was no, I heard homo.
Yeah.
So maybe they
did.
censored maybe
Wow.
Disney censored the subtitles.
Yeah, and Rachel.
That's interesting.
Rachel's like, I haven't been gone for that long, but we worked hard to make sure people like you weren't allowed.
And he's like, I'm a postmodernist gay, and I'm just like an asshole.
And I'm like,
And I can use homo as a slur.
I'm very familiar with that kind of person, and I'm sorry, fuck you. We don't need you.
Also, then Sam is like, isn't he a sweetheart? I'm like, Sam, what?
Sam, no.
What are you
I thought he
talking
was
about?
being sarcastic. I
don't think he was.
Because then somebody
he was
chucks a cup
genuine.
at his head.
The guy, Spencer,
That same guy,
chucks a cup at Sam's
He's
head.
like, isn't he a sweetheart? I think he's being genuine. I think he's being abused.
Sam, our sweet baby Sam, who's so
And then
hot.
Rachel's
in
like,
his
"Don't let him
football coach.
Don't let him treat you that way." And he's
But
like,
also,
I can't
just
defend
wanna-
myself. I'm an assistant coach. What?
I just want to quickly point out that we do briefly see Coach Beast. Very important. Haven't seen this person in many an episode. It's very important that we keep in mind that this person still exists.
She is still in the show.
She's
Yes,
still
they
there.
exist.
Oh, and we forgot. So there's the scene where Leroy, Will, Blaine, and Sam. What a collection of characters. Makes Rachel watch the pilot, and like
That's cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah.
That's just a weird group of people too.
Yeah.
Just
I'm like
not going to your teacher's house. Just like I can't get over how comfortable everyone is on that show with each other.
they're
Just
too
so
comfortable with
gross.
each other, but yet Blaine and Sam aren't dating. It's my problem.
So they watch her shitty pilot, which again
And-
is not fully her fault. And in fact, the only reason it is her fault is because her acting's not great. And you know what? Not her fault. She didn't have a lot to work with.
And it's called That's So Rachel. And yet there's
She's
no
not a
psychic
psychic.
element. Yeah.
I was like, is she a psychic? I was like, no.
I would love a musical psychic show, honestly. And she's like basically in her apartment with Cert or whatever, which is the Mary Holleran script.
Yeah,
And then
yes.
Whitney and there's the purple piano and Blarty, and like Blarty's robbed and he's missing his wheels. And
Also,
he's like,
Blarty is played by fucking Carrot Top. I can't. Carrot Top.
Blarty's like, I was paralyzed with fear, and I'm also paralyzed.
And then he's like, line.
He's
And
lying.
it was her pilot.
Well, I think because it was live, and because the light fell on Cert after he
I
said,
thought
"I
that
spent
was
my
part
work-"
of the actual show.
No. The light
I thought that was part of the
on
script.
the set fell.
No, and she's like, and then the cat
I think
started.
it's just showing how bad it was.
Yeah.
Because she's like the
So
Cert
awful.
forgot his narcolepsy meds.
How there's no way that could have been aired. That's what I don't understand. Like,
it was because it was being aired live.
Like
Why-
how they used to do sitcoms.
but why
Did
would
they
they do
ever
that in
truly do
this
No,
this
it makes no
era?
sense. It makes no sense.
No, there's no way that I feel like they shot it live, sure, in front of an audience, but like that's not a thing. Like that wasn't a thing that they even did in like 2015 when this aired.
No, I
Like-
mean 2015, like the only sitcoms on the air were like Last Man
So that's why
Standing
I don't
Theory.
believe, even in this crazy world, that something like that would air.
Yeah.
It would make sense that like maybe it tested and word got out that it was so bad that it got killed. That I would believe.
No, I think it was aired live. I think that's what they're asking because he's talking about the cats spraying everywhere and stuff. And
But then she said that they cut the singing.
I think they cut it in script.
Are you saying that they aired it live like Saturday Night Live?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why? That I don't believe that. That doesn't make
I
any
think to
sense
show
to me.
that how bad it was. Just saying it was bad quality and they didn't care and they just did it live.
I don't. That seems like an incredible waste of a studio's money. That like, no, I don't believe
Yeah,
that.
we're like,
person.
we found a random Broadway star. We're gonna do a sitcom about them with no music. And we're gonna air it live.
Yeah, there's no way.
That's what happened. I guess.
I can't. But anyway, Carrot Top is in this, and I was like, oof,
It's so bad. And like Blaine's like, not that bad, and Sam is like, no, it's bad.
Well, I just want to quickly point out that my favorite line that has, I think, been uttered on Glee. Cert walks into the room. I think it's like right before he gets completely smashed by that light or whatever. They're like, where were you? Who's like, let's just say I fed my worm to a warbler. And I was like, amazing. Quality writing.
Oh, and in this world, they inherited the apartment from his dead gay grandmothers instead of.
But what the Mercedes sleep paralysis demon version and etc. were living there.
Yeah.
It's bad.
It doesn't make any sense.
No.
It's terrible.
This is the worst thing ever.
So yeah, that's what's going on with Rachel. And then Kurt, he has the, oh my gosh, he remembers his, when he broke up with Blaine, which I traumatized myself not accidentally, like I saw the scene sometimes, maybe on YouTube, while I was like moving in with Rafa, and I was like, oh my God.
Right.
It's very traumatizing because they're talking about we're too young and we had a good run, but they're fighting over like towels, like hand towels or something.
Yeah.
And they like,
You realize that in this scene they're like 7 years younger than you.
Yeah. And the other thing is that, I don't know a lot about yours and Rafa's relationship, but I know a lot about the Blurt relationship, and they were doomed from like a few months in.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
also like, because Blaine, he's like, why am I always the one waiting? And Blaine's like, I was like securing a wedding venue. And Kurt's just like being super rude. And then Kurt's like, I think we had a good run and we need to break up because we're failing living together.
It was
And
the
Blaine-
worst conversation, like communication conversation. It just didn't work. It was like
Yeah.
not
So-
how you're supposed to communicate with people.
I don't know if this was an acting. I don't know if Chris Colfer was bad at acting in this scene, if Kurt was poorly written, if Kurt was just supposed to be an asshole, but I felt nothing for Kurt. Like Kurt like
Yeah.
threw away this relationship, and Darren Chris with his puppy dog eyes
Yeah.
is like weeping, like, I'll never forgive you for this.
Yeah.
Which is a
Yeah.
very threatening way to end a relationship, but okay. But like he's
But also like if you literally are gonna argue over towels and you think like that's literally like the end of your relationship, like you just can't live together, you have a very serious problems that like you're not gonna work out then. So
Yeah.
don't try
Well,
this
'cause
again.
it seems like Kurt was very unwilling to work on it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that does tend to be the issue, the pattern in their relationship is a lot of times
Mhm.
Kurt is unwilling to put in work.
Because Kurt wants the
I will say
fancy.
he's not my favorite character for that. He's just
Yeah.
a little too high maintenance for me that I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you getting Kurt as a character, I was like, I
I know. I'm
I
like-
don't see it.
I know. I was like, him just being like, oh, I'm like the only one doing this and this. And I'm like, oh my God, cry to somebody else about it. Like, I couldn't deal with it. I'm like, just I don't even care. I'm like, whatever. It's a towel.
Yeah, no,
That
I
actually
mean,
break up a relationship because of a towel.
when Stella got Kurt,
But what
'cause
does
I'm
the
like,
towel really represent?
True.
if I were to describe Stella in like 3 words, it'd be like funny, chill, sporty. And like those are 3 words I would not use to describe Kurt. Not funny, not chill, not sporty. So yeah, Blaine, leaves in tears or whatever, and it's like raining or whatever. And so Kurt starts like, this guy's late to the date, and Kurt like has a Arwen-esque tear rolling down his cheek of like, ah, and the guy's like, and then Kurt like leaves. And I'm like, imagine being that guy showing up to that restaurant in New York, and then you show up, the guy is like music video crying.
Staring off into the distance crying. That's worse.
And like, you think, is this because I'm late? And then they leave.
Is it like worse? Is that worse than being stood up? I would say being stood up is worse.
Yeah,
but also you could also interpret it as you showed up and the person decided immediately you weren't worth their time and left.
Yeah, that's true.
I would still, I don't know.
I've
In
been
that
stood up. I've
situation,
been stood up, yeah.
When you're watching someone cry and like obviously have a moment and you're not even there yet, like I would not associate that with me. But
yeah.
Valid.
I would have been like, this person has some stuff and I don't think they're ready for
exactly
a relationship right now.
Can I get a menu, please?
Well, when Kurt was talking to the psychic, he was like, he's the one that asked me. And I
have to really point that out.
And I'm the one who ended things.
He doesn't want people
so
to
bad.
think that he was so in on this relationship that he was just in. And that's bad.
That's
like
bad.
If you're telling you're like, these people could be your romantic partners, like, yeah, I just like was kind of in this relationship. It wasn't like a thing.
And didn't even care.
It didn't mean anything. And I was the one who broke it off. And like they asked me and I just like happened to say yes because I felt that. Like that's essentially what he's saying. And it's like, you're a shitty person.
Yeah. And which is realistic for someone that age. In that I remember when I broke up with my first serious relationship. And I was like, oh, I was the one who did it. And someone just jokingly was like, oh, so you won the relationship. And it's like, and that did they meant it as a joke, but it did make me reevaluate, like, why would I mention that,
Yeah.
Like it's this thing where we have to like try and save face. And Kurt's just being real shitty. And then Kurt is weeping in Rachel's bedroom. He somehow got in the house.
Leroy is just like, Kurt didn't say anything. Leroy's just like, just go wait on her bed.
Kurt is a lurker. Maybe he just climbed through the window.
You know what?
After he bought a random ticket from New York to go cry on his best friend's bed in Indiana.
Ohio.
He channeled.
But it's basically.
Right, yes.
He channeled his Peter Pan in that nursing home and flew in through the window. Singing Madonna's Lucky Star. Sometimes they play that song at work and I'm like, no. So she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And like, imagine for both Blaine and Kurt, they go through this breakup and Rachel is not there for them at all. And so she's like, okay, like we're going to get through this. And he's like, I want Blaine back. Like he was the best thing I ever had. And I threw it away. And I'm like, you don't get to basically, okay, Blaine cheated the first time they broke up, but also Kurt, like, which Blaine was more in the wrong in that. I'm not like saying, but like Kurt was like being distant and not answering his calls and stuff. So like Kurt has essentially thrown Blaine away twice.
Yeah. And then also it's just like, they clearly have much more serious issues than just like, oh, like we're not getting along over this and that. It's like, you guys don't know how to communicate.
Every time they move in together, they decide not to live together anymore.
Yeah. So like there's a problem there. It's like maybe you guys really aren't good as romantic partners because at least right now in your life, like you guys want the fantasy. You don't want like what is the real relationship. And
he's like, men fight to stay close.
I have never heard that before.
Show me a psychological study, sir.
Yeah, that was a weird line. But anyways, he's like, I'm gonna get Blaine back. So he's at
he asks Rachel, can you like set something up between us? And I'm like, that puts Rachel in a really weird situation where like Blaine is like, yeah, he kind of like broke my heart and like whatever. But she does it, and I'm like, why would you do that?
Why doesn't
That
Kurt
Rachel
just
should have been
reach
like,
out?
No.
Like, why wouldn't
Immediate
Rachel just be
no.
like, I think you need to reach out to him. Like, I can't do that
Yeah.
for you. Like, you guys have to do that on your own. Because that would be her protecting her friendship with Blaine and with Kurt. That like,
Yeah.
don't get in the middle of that.
No. So Blaine and Kurt meet up at Scandals, the gay bar. And Kurt is like, I'm getting back, blah, blah, blah. And then Blaine shows up and is like, hey. And he's like,
He
and
had like
Kurt's
an
just
awkward
straight
hug,
up.
almost kiss thing.
Yeah, it was weird.
Oh yeah.
But it looked like Blaine was gonna kiss him. And so I'm like, but that doesn't make sense for what happens in like 5 seconds.
Because Kurt is like, I want you back. I'm just going to be obvious. And then I wish he had sung a cover of Cher Loves Want You Back. But then he's just like, yeah, I'm going to get you back. And Blaine's like, I'm seeing someone and I want to tell you in person because you know them. And Kurt's like, please don't let it be Sebastian Smythe. You know, the option that would make some sense, but he's busy being the Flash right now. So guess who shows up? Karofsky.
Ooh, I
love-
had a breakdown.
I kind of love their like how they got together thing. It was like a bear country night. I was like, well, what the fuck?
That's a real event that would happen, though.
But that's
That's one of the most
Ohio.
realistic things, though, Glee
Yeah.
has done.
Yeah.
And so they meet up and like we start talking about you and, you know, Blaine was mad, but, you know, Krosky reminded him of how Kurt was there for him in that really dark time, you know, and they're like, you know, we could all be friends. Like they're jumping, they're overcompensating to like try and be like, this is fine. But,
Yeah,
you know,
they
Blaine.
should just be like, we're together now and we're, you know, it's early. We're just working through it, but you know, that's what it is.
You know, Blaine and Karofsky, you know, they should be allowed to date. Like,
Yeah.
I know Kurt's like the protagonist or whatever, but like, it's not all about Kurt, you know, and they're trying to like break it to him gracefully. But Kurt's like, I have to throw up. And he has this line. He's like, when did Blaine start liking bears? And I'm like, I see your fat phobia, Glee.
Yeah.
That like Karofsky is a less suitable partner because he's a bear or whatever. And that Blaine has to only like twinks and has to have the same dating taste he did when he was 16 years old.
Yeah, it's dumb because there's way easier reasons to not like Karofsky as his partner.
Yeah, I mean, like, regardless of like what he was going through at that time when he was threatening Kurt, but like
He threatened him.
Blaine could literally be like, I couldn't be with this person because like I understand what you're going through, but like you threatened my almost was husband,
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
and like, but because you know whatever reason they moved past that, cool, whatever. But like that would be Kurt. That should have been the thing that Kurt said instead of when did he start liking bears. It should have been like,
Yeah,
he just betrayed me. Like that's
Yeah.
that's what would
Exactly.
make more sense.
And even if that's
Exactly.
not 100% like true, that's makes emotional logic.
yes, it's an emotional logic for Kurt. 100%. Like I would be behind that. I get that.
And
I
you know,
empathize with that.
Blaine also, as a character, has always been kind of nebulous, and so his existence is always to
He's a
complement
love
Kurt's.
bot.
Yeah, and it's always to complement Kurt's story. So it's not would Blaine realistically date Krosky? It's what would be the most upsetting thing for Kurt.
For Kurt, yes. And Sebastian Smythe, like he may say that in his like, oh, please don't let it be him. But like if he was dating Sebastian, it would be not that at all. It would be okay.
Especially because Sebastian mainly like didn't like Kurt, but the person he blinded was Blaine.
Yeah. I think it would be interesting because like that would make Kurt be like, fine, I'm gonna basically like fight for you back.
Yeah.
But like this is it's the show doing like a personal dig at Kurt.
So Kurt does his like third or fourth weep of the episode. He like runs through the bar. He goes to the tiny ass bathroom. He is sliding on the floor. I'm like, no. I know what kind of bar this is. You don't touch. I mean, you don't touch any public bathroom floor and wall, but like especially at a location like this, like there are things on that wall.
Yeah.
Like I hope
And
you
a
have your
bar.
vaccines, Kurt. Like
Do you have a tetanus shot? Yeah.
Yeah. So Kurt's upset. So Rachel goes straight to the superintendent and is like, I think kids need the arts. And the guy's like, yeah, kids do need the arts because like they do just as humans, and statistically it's good for them. And the guy's like, and I don't really like the caning. Because he's like, the principals aren't in charge of the schools. I'm like, if someone's caning, I mean, I guess in Missouri they are bringing back spanking. But in general, you can get them out. And they had to vote people had to vote to like support spanking or whatever or something.
Did it pass?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But here's what gets me about
For
that.
that one school or like the
It's
whole
a
state?
district. It's a district.
Oh God.
But I'm like,
That's a lot of kids. It doesn't matter how big the district is. Like that's still a lot more kids than just one school. That's horrible.
and the fact that apparently the parents have to approve it. So I'm like, at that point, if you want to spank it, why don't you just spank your kid?
So basically,
Why don't you
have
abuse
to
your
get
kid so when they get old, they can put you in a nursing home, because they can't do that to their teacher.
Well, also like, okay, if they have to approve it, that means, hey, your kid did something bad.
I just want to point out that
we have to get your approval.
Putting people in nursing homes is not an inherently bad thing.
No, I think you're right. You're right. There's different
bad nursing home.
A bad nursing home and not visiting them. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so like the kid gets in trouble, and then you would have to get the parents' approval. And like at that point, like that could be either like hours later or like even days later, and then you're spanking them, and it's kind of like, well, now you're just doing it just so you can hit them.
Yeah. I think it's because Republicans want to bring back spanking fetishes, because the fetish is dying out because people our age and younger didn't go through that as much. So I think those senators, they kinky, and they're trying to get it. I'm trying to get it back.
Ew.
Not to kink shame, but I will shame abuse of children. I will abuse
wow,
shame.
Cullen, that's a hot take.
Do whatever you want with adults in your bedroom, but don't hit kids at school.
And what teacher would want to? That's my thought. I'm like, like I could not even imagine, like it would be like spanking a kid like that you're babysitting. It's not.
Yeah. Why would I want to touch some kid's ass? Like, I know that sounds, but like just thinking about that, like as a part of my life as an adult is like, no. Like it's one thing, obviously, when you have a baby and you're like cleaning that, I'm not, but like still that's weird.
It's just a horrible policy that is not going to achieve anything good.
So those people, I'm shaming you. If you're listening to GLEEBOOT right now, I think you suck. So vote against it, vote out your school board, do whatever. Talk to your local teachers, because they get more information on who's running for those things than the average voter. Because that's the thing about local politics, is that there's so little information given to you, and they have a lot of control over your life and like the safety of your children in school, like, okay. So, he's like, the caning's too much. I'm like, that woman should be in jail. That woman has violated the Geneva Convention. I say that all the time, but like, I think actually, yes. Like crimes against God in the UN. And so she's like, I think she's angling for your jobs. And she's like, I have some money left over from that. So Rachel. And I'm like, not money left over from Funny Girl?
Yeah. I was like, you have what, like $300 left?
But she's going to fund the Glee Club. But it's the middle of the school year. So like sectionals is coming. They're talking about sectionals already.
Is it the middle of the school year?
Like, it's
or
like
is it
September, like school started.
Yeah. So
there is no club. It was liquidated. She has to rebuild the whole thing.
Yeah. There's not even like the chairs and stuff in there. Like it's a computer lab.
Yeah.
So
which apparently took one night to break down.
Yeah. And so because
well, I mean, if you look at that, like you could clean that up in a couple hours.
Yeah.
It's just some tables in the room.
Unplug everything. You have to move the computer somewhere else. Where else are they going to put the computers?
So
like
Sue calls it a state-of-the-art computer lab, but I'm like, that's your local library's computer lab.
Yeah,
that is literally computers at a table. Like, what are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no 3D printer. So they move all the shit or whatever. They move in the piano, and the Glee Club and the AV Club have always had friendly relations. And Kurt's like, we're gonna know your names and the band kids. And
That's
like,
never gonna come back.
never gonna come back. Also condescending to say out loud. One thing to be like, we should do this, like Kurt and Rachel talking alone, but like condescending
not
to
to
people.
them.
Yeah.
I'll remember your name eventually, even though you just told me 4 seconds ago.
And so they are starting the Glee Club, and Sue comes in and she drops her smoothie. Now, you went over my head. And I don't appreciate being told off. You told me off after I walked out of your Broadway show and had sex all over your apartment. You told me off in front of my beau, who I will never speak of or mention again.
Chris Parnell.
And I'm like, you deserve to be told off, Sue. You deserve to be slapped. Like when Satana got mad at you in the Finn tribute episode, you deserved it. You know, like she should have told you off. Like, you're a horrible person. I'm like, Jane Lynch, you're a treasure, but Sue Sylvester, evil. And Sue Sylvester would invent colonialism if she could. I'm just gonna say that. So if it hadn't already been done. So Rachel's mad, or so she's yelling at Kurt and Rachel. She's like, you're going to think my feud with Will was nothing. And I'm going to feud with you. And like, my favorite thing though, is they're not really even scared. Rachel's just like rolling her eyes like, got this bitch. Like,
yeah. She looks like she has a headache. Like,
I mean, I would. And so she just starts throwing shit around and being mad. And they're just like, God.
that
tantrum.
Yeah, that joke isn't funny anymore. Like where she's throwing paper and like.
Yeah, so you know, the comedy has the rule of 3. Glee comedy.
This has been the 3,000.
275. Like,
still funny. No, it's not.
And so she leaves, and they're gonna do the Glee Club. So Rachel's setting up her office. The star is there. And then she starts setting.
She also hangs up the word dream. I was like, oh, that's Cullen. That would be Cullen.
Yeah, I love dreams. So she, speaking of the Queen of Marinus of Arendelle, she starts singing "Let It Go."
Well, wait. What about Shu coming to her office and putting up that rule number 1, save the kids or whatever?
Oh, it's about the kid.
The one that he looked at when he was pinning the weed stuff on Finn to get him to join the Glee Club. But yeah, also Shu, skinny person, he can just waltz right into the school. What I'm assuming is in the evening.
Yeah. Menace. So yeah, he's like, he gives her a pep talk, whatever. And he's like, I always thought this would be Finn, but I'm really happy to see you taking it up. And we'll see you at sectionals. You got to start recruiting. And she's like, what better way to recruit? Start singing the song sung by the former Queen of Arendelle.
The real life version of her mother. Also in a dress very similar to the one that Idina Menzel, Adele Dazeem wore at when she was christened Adele Dazeem at the Oscars.
In the moment that caused Cullen to give up on the Oscars forever, when they sped up the song, cut part of it, and caused her voice to crack after misintroducing her.
Yeah, her voice, like, I felt so bad for her watching that because, like, obviously she's a great live performer. They just, like, they set her up for failure.
Yeah.
And I was actually like, I felt really kind of annoyed. Like, why are you paying homage to that moment at the Oscars when literally, like, they did her dirty? Like, how dare you?
I mean, Glee did the episode making fun of Britney Spears' Spiral, so it's like, so she sings "Let It Go" random. This is the second Disney song to be sung. It's Bella Notte and "Let It Go." Those are the 2 Disney songs that Glee's like, we cover in these.
It was cringe.
It made no sense because it would make more sense if she was choosing to leave Broadway behind and like go resurrect the Glee Club.
But what is she singing about? She's singing about, I guess,
she's not letting go of her dreams because she's talking about, I'm gonna.
Well, she's saying the cold never bothered her anyways. She's saying like the cold is like Sue.
I guess.
It doesn't make any sense.
She's not letting go of her dream. She's like, I'm going to be here for a few months, and then I'm going to get on my feet.
She's going to get back on her feet.
Which is also like, okay, cool. You're going to use these kids and then just like leave them hanging. Yeah, that annoyed me too. You have to stay here at least the whole year. That's not a couple months. That's 9 months.
Yeah, she could have Shu's baby in that time. So she sings "Let It Go." There's fake snow. Sue is in ice.
At her desk, it's weird.
She
I don't
puts
get
the
it.
star, and the sheet, and then she just says, "The cold never bothered me."
Anyway.
She doesn't even do the cold never bothered me anyway. She's just like, never bothered me anyway. Whatever.
This was such an underwhelming performance of this song.
Yeah, if you're gonna do this song that literally every YouTuber had covered by this point, like anyone who made music had covered Let It Go.
Yeah.
Like
also Demi Lovato covered it for the actual movie. Yeah.
Using the alternate lyrics or whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't want to spoil things. Yeah, so yeah, really underwhelming. Whatever, it ended, it happened. And we're on Glee 5.0, whatever point oh this is, whatever reboot. That's the new premise. Rachel runs the Glee Club. With
yeah. Yeah. And that's going to be part of his new work study thing. And I'm like,
yeah, because Sue is like the frequency at which the two most promising graduates fled back to high school.
Yeah. I mean, she has a point there.
Yeah.
But yeah. It happened.
That was Loser Like Me. I guess that takes us to Tina time.
Not even mentioned.
Nope, not in this episode. Not talked about. Nothing.
Tina would have bodied Let It Go. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah.
Oh, she would have.
That actually would make more sense for her character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because Tina has that angst. She has that Elsa angst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we're dedicated to our bit of doing Tina time.
We were doing Tina time until the last episode. Yeah. So I guess it's time for MVPs and LVPs. I'm like slowly remembering what we do in this show. Stella, who's your least valuable player?
From this episode?
Yeah.
Or I gotta go with Kurt. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of him. Just too dramatic for me for just wanting to get back with Blaine and him just fucking like trying to make it all about him. And I don't know. He was never been my favorite character, so I always have a grudge against him.
Yeah, Kurt wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I second that. I put Sue obviously because like that's such like an obvious choice. Like of course she's horrible and she just keeps getting worse. Like it's not funny, but yeah, like I think Kurt, because he has way more potential to actually be like a normal person than Sue does, and he was just like they need therapy. They need to go and talk to someone who isn't their old choir teacher.
Yeah. Someone with a license.
With an actual degree in psychology and can help them.
Yeah, does Sue even have a college degree?
Yeah, you have to take the praxis.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't know how school works because remember he just took the Spanish teaching job because it was the only job available. Yeah.
I think he went to now I don't know.
Allyssa, least favorite character.
I mean, I have to go with Sue. Because she's just a terrible person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's it. And there's no question about it. Like,
yeah, if you couldn't tell, I was not a fan of Sue this week. Kurt is a good mention though, because I really, honestly, for Kurt and Blaine breaking up, like the last time they broke up, whatever, you kind of felt for both of them. And this time it's just like, Kurt's a dick. But Sue is like a supervillain, like not even a good supervillain. Like, you know, like Poison Ivy, you're like, yeah, I get it. But like Sue, I'm like, no, you just suck. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no reason why she's so mean. It's just because she's power hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, you know, I want us to think about that when we reach what the conclusion of Sue's character arc in the series is. Upsetting. I'm upset. So, Stella, who's your MVP? Who's your favorite character?
I go Blaine. because he makes the most sense of being there and doing, like, he's just, I think, the most normal out of everybody. And he just minds his own business, does his own stuff, and not in like Rachel's whole getting fired, Kurt coming back. He was just, he went through the trenches, and now he has a job, and he's doing just minding his own business. That's what I like about him. So
yeah, he went through a rough time, and now he like legitimately has a job doing something he's good at, and like has moved on, is dating a person he like didn't date in high school,
he's thriving.
Yeah. Cat.
Hey, hi. Sid and I would like to choose the MVP as he's gone now. Whoever came up with the line, fed my worm to a warbler. I mean, I don't know who this person is, but they deserve a round of applause. And I gave them one already.
Standing ovation. How many standing ovations? We don't know because Lee Michelle fans can't count.
I'm gonna go with Will and Emma's baby because he was super cute. And the fact that he has to deal with Will every day, and we got to see his perspective, like, massive respect.
How truly horrifying it would be to be Will.
Yeah. The baby's gonna have a hard life that it doesn't even know.
That baby is fake laughing. That baby already knows, like, I need to laugh at this fucking episode.
If I don't, he won't leave me alone.
Daniel Finn Schuster. See, I want to go with Blaine. He's very cute in this episode. Sam was also very attractive. I might, I'm only doing it because the opportunities for it are so rare. I'm going with Rachel. Yeah, because for once in her life, she did truly seem humbled, and she wasn't blaming anyone other than herself.
Yeah, that's a good point.
She's like, I fucked up. She's like, I want to go to Broadway. Like, that's where my dream was. And I had it and I lost it and I lost sight of it and I need to get it back.
And she's doing some selfless things. Like, she's still helping Kurt and Blaine figure out their relationship, even though I don't think she should be in that position. But like, she's not like, no, I can't help you with this. I have my own stuff to do with. Like, she's actually doing that. She's restarting the Glee Club because she knows how important it was to her and how important it will be to other kids. So
yeah, she sees what's happening to the kids and she's upset. She's like, this isn't right. This homophobia, the fact, like, she's like, they need something, Yeah. Like, this is like one of her first truly like kind, generous things that she's done.
This is her save the cat moment. Season 6, episode 1. It took us that long.
Yeah. So the music, we have Sing, obviously. We have Dance the Night Away. We have Let It Go, Suddenly Seymour, Uninvited, but not the underrated bop from the weird niche musical Sleeping Beauty Wakes, but the Alanis Morissette one.
And Let It Go.
Let It Go. Yeah, we had Let It Go. By the Queen Emeritus.
A lot of pigeonholed songs again.
This was the vibe of season 6 music selection is like, well, we want to do the song before the show ends.
Yeah. We want to do Let It Go. It's really popular right now. No one really seems to like the weird song that Jonathan Groff's character sings to his moose or reindeer. Reindeers, right?
Allyssa specifically does not like that song.
I hate that song.
I know.
I hate it.
There is somewhere in the world, there is a video I made in college for my job called Don't Get Frozen on Panel, about how to do a panel as an admissions ambassador. And we're all playing Frozen characters. And I'm Kristoff, and we're the Golden Grizzlies, and I sing a quick version of Grizzlies Are Better Than People.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I was paid to do this, and it was my idea. So I've obviously contributed a lot to society society between that and this Glee podcast. Stella, what was your least favorite song?
Honestly, I really wasn't. Kind of all of them. They just didn't make any. Like they just didn't work. And
Glee
I'm like,
has so many bops, and none of them are in this episode.
yeah, I feel like they tried too hard and to like branch out. But I'm like, Glee sticks with like pop music. Just stick with that most of the time. So I really, honestly, all of them are kind of lower for me for this one at least.
Yeah, for me, it was Let It Go, just so cringe. And also, obviously, I'm at the point where like, when did that movie come out? 2014?
2013.
2013. Okay, so this song is 2 years old at that point.
Yeah, it was already past.
Let It Go. Let It Go is what I'm choosing, but also Glee, Let It Go. You're 2 years too late. Yeah, it was so cringe. Again, it didn't make sense. And it's just like they just wanted to do it because the Idina Menzel connection with Glee and popular for 5-year-olds still. So they wanted that iTunes money.
But the thing is, iTunes was not a thing anymore at this time.
You don't even think even for parents who are like,
maybe
I just
parents
need to buy albums to keep my kids.
Yeah, my kids are gonna really love the Rachel Berry cover of Alanis Morissette's Uninvited.
I'm going with Let It Go because it was just boring. Like I'm used to seeing that song and like everyone who sings it is super passionate and you can feel it. And this was not that. It was not even close.
That song is literally a showstopper.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the whole thing. And like the fact that they ended the episode on it, but managed to make it so like uninspired.
It was boring. Yeah.
Because that's what I mean, Leah Michelle, you give her a song, she makes it come out of her mouth.
That's the thing.
But like usually she's cry singing. She's selling some Kelly Clarkson song. She's doing that, but like lately she's been missing. She missed Let It Go, Pink's Glitter in the Air, Snooze. So yeah, she's not doing it too hot. My least favorite, I went with Dance the Night Away, whatever, the one Vocal Adrenaline sang, because it was purely filler.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
That's
Go
true.
Girl, Give Us Nothing. No one blinked, no one moved. That was early Dua Lipa dancing, you know, like that's where we're at. Stella, what was your favorite song?
I gotta go with the one with the Warblers just because I don't know, they rocked it. Just like the dancing and everything. Because I feel like every other song was so sad. I'm like, all right, just give some pep.
Yeah, same. Like Sing, I don't love it as a song in general, but the Warblers, like I don't think there's many times where like the Warblers, it's kind of like, I don't think I like that. It was just like, this was good. This was actually somewhat fun.
Yeah.
Allyssa?
Definitely Sing. I mean, I like Ed Sheeran. So, but the fact, like, I was singing along with it. It was fun. It was energetic and just fun to watch. Like, they're always fun to watch. The show should be about the Warblers.
It really blew all. If it was an anime, it would be. It really blew.
Yes, it would.
It really blew all the other songs out of the water. Saying, yeah, it's definitely like the best one. Like I was texting Stella about this episode earlier, and I was like, well, there was a good Warblers number. Like that was the highlight. Which, you know, Ed Sheeran will also always make me think of the time I accidentally found a Christian version of Ed Sheeran's Shape of You.
Yeah.
Greatest abomination. I am forever haunted. That, and so I played 2 Glee covers at my wedding, like during the reception. And one of them with a song that will be sung later this season, but people were singing along because they didn't realize it was the Glee version, and we're like taking pictures, and in my brain I'm like, they don't know this is the Glee version.
I just fucking tricked them. But
in hindsight, there are more songs from the CW's reign on that playlist about Mary Queen of Scots. But the other one was Glee Somewhere Only We Know, which is Dan, Chris, and the Warblers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that brings us to the end of Loser Like Me, which means we have 12 episodes of Glee left to discuss, and I will be counting down.
Yes.
Because we, like, when we start this podcast, like, we didn't even know what coronavirus was.
Oh my God.
I was saying I was straight.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, we've been through so much watching this insane fucking show.
And you know, pandemic aside, you know, watching all of Glee is enough.
Yeah.
That is an experience in and of itself.
Especially at this time of, like, with all the context and, like, weird things that recontextualize the show that keeps coming.
Like, the show will never die. Like, things just keep happening around the show. It's like, hey, Michelle, life imitating art, becoming on Broadway with Funny Girl. And I'm like,
yeah, the fact that we still have relevant pop culture things to talk about regularly.
bananas.
Bananas. So, Stella, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, this was a fun time. Tune in next week where we're having a Glee correspondent, an old friend of the pod,
Yes.
on to talk. I think it's Homecoming. I think they're talking about Homecoming, the first Homecoming depicted in the history of Glee. They had many a prom, but not a Homecoming.
Strange.
I wonder if this will be an excuse to, like, bring back characters. I don't know.
Takes a sip of his drink. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess we'll do Somies.
Oh yeah.
You can follow Gleeboot on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We are at GleebootPod. You can also find us on Tumblr. We haven't really posted, but gleebootpod.tumblr.com.
I mean, honestly, if you really want to follow us, I post on Instagram very regularly and occasionally on TikTok. I don't even know how. I don't know how to use Twitter. Here we are. Also, I will put a poll out when this episode is released. If we made Glee Boot merch, like, we're not gonna sell mass merch, but if we had, like, some kind of giveaway, or, like, we made, like, stickers or something small, would you be interested? You know, maybe a joke about Ryan Murphy's inability to understand Ohio geography, or the injustice inflicted upon Jenna Ushkowitz. You know, anything, you know, or what the French would say, you know, as the French would say, you know, any kind of joke. Let us know. I will put that on our Instagram. So follow us on Instagram. And we're hoping to bring back a lot of repeat guests and podcasters and glodcasters this season. I just thought we should open with another family member, because I'm really
blood
relative. I'm dragging a lot of my family onto this. We had my parents, we had my siblings, we had my other cousin.
My family got out of this pretty okay. Only one person was on the podcast.
Your cousin.
Yeah, and she did an episode that she has never watched and will never watch again. She doesn't watch the Christmas episode. Yeah,
and we had Alyssa's mom and brother.
Mm-hmm.
So really, yeah, it's an ordeal for us and our families. But yeah, so tune in next week to talk about Homecoming. Bye, Glee Booties.
Bye.
All right, we forgot because we're rusty at this. You can follow me on Instagram at Cullen Ever After, TikTok, your boy Ryan 99, and those are my social medias, right?
Speaking of, like, a redemption, I mean, is Ryan gonna come back?
Ryan might be coming back, because I somehow have more YouTube followers, even though I haven't posted videos in forever. So, and you know, I was going back looking at the channel, remembering that, you know, people were commenting, asking me to do shirtless videos. So, I just gotta keep the fans at the. No, I will not be doing that. But you know, if you're following me, maybe I need to give you some content. Allyssa.
You can follow me on Instagram at a.m.swearingen, even though I haven't posted anything in, like, the entirety of my lifetime, it feels like. But, you know, it could change. It could change.
And Stella, if people want to follow you on your exciting adventures and travels, where could they do that?
My Instagram, just Stella.Harding. I don't really post much, but I try.
Yeah, she'll post cool things of stuff you're visiting. Like you post a lot in your story. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I gotta go. My house is currently being overhauled for Halloween. So there is a bridal couple of skeletons that are taller than me right now. So we go see those. But I'm gonna log off again. Bye, Gleeboots.
Bye.
Bye.
Gleeboot.